positions. 11, they should be treated as such. The Bears are back, baby!
Welcome back to i75Live. Took about a week off, but we were at the draft. So this episode is going to be centered a lot about our trip up to Lambeau. As you can see, it was a ton of fun. And for those of you who have never had the opportunity to go to Lambeau and you are a football fan.
Oh, man. It should be on every single one of y'all's lists, first off. It's probably the most historical site for NFL, maybe besides like Canton, Ohio, maybe.
Not even that. On top of what you just said, yes, it's very historical. It's very, unique, like almost like a wonder of the world when it comes to stadiums, sports stadiums. It was the hospitality, the people, the literal like.
Especially with me being in a Bears uniform, like jersey.
Well, we'll get into that because I have some thoughts on that and some of the people we interacted with. But I would say when you look at it, you just take your average town of just a little, neighborhood, and then all of a sudden you just plop a fat ass stadium right in the middle of a town,
literally in the middle of a neighborhood. And I've heard the stories, I've seen the pictures, and honestly, I still didn't believe it fully until we pulled up and you see the giant G over houses, and it's just like this. The closer you get there, it's just the stadium emerges
of people's backyards.
Like, wow, it literally is in their backyard.
Yeah, it's not a joke. It's not
there's no parking outside of front lawns, which we did.
Yeah, so to go to that little story, so we come pulling in because we stayed at a hotel, about like 30 minutes away.
Yeah, in Appleton.
And then we drove to Green Bay, and as you're driving, it's nothing crazy, nothing spectacular. You start seeing houses. Well, we start seeing signs of parking signs. $200.
It started at 50.
It did. And we were like, okay, we're a little miles bit away. And then all of a sudden, the closer we get, 100.
100.
120.
150.
150.
200.
200. And we were like, holy. And that was to be expected because I think everyone kind of knows when you go to an event, parking is going to be outrageous. Yeah. But the funniest part is you were literally like in someone's front yard.
Yeah. Parked right next to their window.
Like if you have a window, it was like this much room between the bumper of the car to your front window.
Oh yeah. And they were outside acting like it was a tailgate, chilling in their garages and their man caves, watching people pull up. It was
so we go around.
How much did you guys pay for parking?
So it was 50 both.
We got lucky. I would say we got lucky. We found a 50 lot. We
2 different days.
Yes, both days we found a 50 because we were there for, Thursday and Friday.
The second one, though, was a steal.
Yeah. We were really, really close to the second one.
Oh, man.
But no, so the first one, we drive around all these neighborhoods because I think we just kind of wanted to see it, and there were just people everywhere. Yep. Tailgating, houses. So we finally pull around.
It was like a game day.
Yeah, it was. We finally pull around back to the main street where we saw 50, so we park. But this lady, she was this old little, like, you could tell she was just happy to be there. And she was like directing people to come park, and she's directing us, telling us where to go. So we park, we get out, and she's like, "Well, do you guys want some beer while you're walking to the stadium?" And we were like, "Okay, like why not? Sure,
free beers."
So we kind of are talking to some of the other guys who are there, and shooting the shit with them and saying like, "Is it weird living here with all these people?" And that was pretty cool to kind of hear some of the stories that he had to say. And the guy too, he was like, "Yeah, well, when I go to a game, I don't go to a game unless it's the front row. I don't look at tickets unless it's the front row."
Oh, really? Must be nice.
And I was like, and then one guy told you that they paid both of their kids,
they put their kids
college tuition for college through just the parking money.
Because they had lived there.
That's what he told us.
It had been probably, they've probably lived there like 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
And the Packers have been good since they were a team, pretty much. 2 kids straight through college just off of game day parking. And they don't charge that, like for game days, they told us it's normally more like 30 or 40 for those houses. But obviously for the draft, they take advantage of the foreigners.
They got to take advantage of those Bears
especially the Bears fans.
But didn't you say something though? Like one guy said that he...
Hold on 1 sec though. I got to get to the funniest part of the story. The beer lady.
Oh, the beer.
So the beer. So she comes out, and we're kind of talking to some of these other guys about the guy who only sits in the front row, and so she comes out, and all I see she's holding a bottle of tequila.
Yep.
And I was like, what's going on?
This is how they get down.
She's got
in Green
little
Bay.
shot glasses, little plastic. And she's like, I thought we could take tequila shots too while we're at it.
How old was
Mind
this
you,
lady?
three of
She
us
was
are in
probably-
Bears uniforms.
Yeah, and
Bears
yes,
jerseys.
they were in Bears. I was in Patriots. So like enemy territory. And that's kind of where I was going with the hospitality of all these people. Like it was, you could
They were happy to have you.
they were happy to have you. They were happy to make fun of you, but they didn't make it personal.
They didn't cross a line.
They did not cross a
was
line.
like being an
Not
NFL
one
fan.
time did we run into someone who crossed the line. It was all literally
Drunk,
just-
happy Green Bay fans.
Yes, who were just happy to make fun of Bear fans, not how you looked, not how you
No,
dressed, not
was
what you were
always-
wearing, not anything. It was strictly because you were wearing a Bears jersey.
I heard the Bears still suck. Probably in
That was-
my ear about like 150
and
times.
that's
throughout the
that's all it
weekend.
was.
It
So
a
so
lot.
to me, I really like that because if you're gonna talk shit, if you're gonna make fun of a fan base, if you're gonna make fun of someone, don't make it personal because that's when it's just. I mean, that's when shit happens that shouldn't happen. And I would say, as a Green Bay whole of the fan base who was there, they did an amazing job of making fun of you guys without actually making fun of you guys.
Yes, and I mean, considered the most bitter rival in all of
Yes,
the NFL, for
yes.
it to be like that, I would say it's more civil than like a Steelers-Ravens rivalry, and those fans, honestly. Which
So did you guys like? So did she give you shots? Did
So
you have
yes,
to pay
oh,
for
yeah,
them,
we
or
took
what's the deal?
tequila
So
shots.
we all took tequila shots, and then I kind of was like, "Well, do we owe you anything?" She's like, "No, just have fun."
we parked in her lawn, paid her 50
have a-
bucks.
Didn't she say
have
they
a
were
good
like the
time.
biggest shot you ever had too?
It,
or
wa- I
like-
mean, it was. I would
pretty
say it was
tall.
probably like a double shot.
was a
Really?
double.
did she have limes and salt?
No, it was just straight fucking tequila.
No chaser.
with
it was
with a
just-
beer to chase it
just
down with.
tequila, which I'm a fan of. I only really drink
So,
tequila.
but yeah,
So didn't you told me a story about a guy that says they park all the cars early during like pregame and then they like close up shop and then they use that money to buy tickets to go to the game?
So yeah, so one of the guys too is
awesome.
he said because tickets are so expensive, what they'll sometimes
The Green
do
Bay tickets?
the Green Bay tickets
I can
is
imagine. There's not many
he'll
spots.
literally sell out his whole yard until it's completely full, and then he'll take the money that he made and go buy the best ticket he possibly can for that game.
Genius.
So I would do that. Are you kidding me?
Genius.
If I
It's
lived
genius.
there,
Heck yeah.
if it was, I mean, you look at it as in like girl math, like it's basically free. Like you get money from parking and you just get
Yeah.
to go to a game every Sunday
you
and
do
not
is-
have to worry about
all
it.
you
Why
have to do is
not?
spend
Like,
Why not?
No cost.
Because you're
I mean,
right there and
Yeah.
it's literally walking. So
Well, and I think people don't understand that it literally, like, really is.
That's
when I went
why
to
I
Green Bay
say-
was years ago. It's right in the middle of a neighborhood.
that's why I
Like, it
say
really
you
is.
don't really
is.
realize where it is until you actually go and see it yourself.
Oh yeah.
Like it's funny to joke and say, "Oh, it's in a neighborhood. It's so close."
Well, it
Oh
literally
yeah,
is.
haha, I'm sure it is. No, it literally is.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys do
It's not a
shots.
joke.
You get some beers.
So we do shots,
and
do
now
beers.
You're headed
So
to
now
the
we're walking to
stadium
the
or what?
stadium and we're walking through, all the little neighborhoods and going, and then all of a sudden it's just boom, the big
Here's
G,
Lambeau.
here's Lambeau. And, I would also say it was I was expecting it to kind of have an older feel.
It's been renovated
It was
recently.
very modernized and renovated to look
Yeah.
very new, very.
They've done that a couple times to Lambeau because I mean it's been there since
Yes.
like the goddamn I think like
Forever.
30s or 40s, maybe
Yes.
even before that. But yeah, it's gone through a couple different renovations.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It was really cool, and we got to go in the stadium. Like we
Yeah,
didn't-
so-
this was in and around Lambeau, so we got to be in like the bleacher
So
seats,
I didn't
right
really
down
let
to the
you-
field.
So you got to go in the stadium.
we didn't
we
know.
watched the first round, some of it from inside the stadium.
And we didn't know we were going to be able to go in the stadium, I think, until we got there. So when we
Yeah.
got there, we kind of went in, when we went to the shop, we went to look, there were so many people and they were letting, people funnel into the stadium.
Yep.
So we go into the stadium and then we were like the underground where all the concession is, we were walking through and all of a sudden we see people going into the stadium. We were like, no,
Whoa.
we got to do that. So we did that. And let me tell you though, like it was when you walked in,
Oh yeah.
there was maybe 1/3, 1/4 of the stadium filled with people when we were first there.
What I was surprised at by Lambeau is the fact that they don't really have nosebleed seats. They have two sections that are up,
Yes.
and then everything else. And mind you, that the Bears have like marginally the smallest stadium in the NFL. They have like I think just over 60,000 seats. And Green Bay is sitting at like 80,000, and Soldier Field looks bigger. but
Yeah.
it's bleacher seats, so everyone's like shoulder to shoulder with each other,
Yeah.
and it's all a bowl. So I can just
is.
imagine being an away team playing in that. I bet it's loud as shit.
And I also bet it's a really, really fun
Yeah.
to be a fan and go to a
Yes.
game when that place is full.
Mhm.
That's what I got, where I was just sitting there envisioning, like, could you imagine this stadium
yeah.
full right now for a playoff game?
Yep, they were doing the red carpet because they had all the rookies coming down, and got to see Kay Adams in person. Kay Adams, please call me, by the way. But Jesus, had to get that out. We weren't there too long for the red carpet, so we didn't get to see too many of the athletes. But we did see Travis Hunter.
We did see Travis. He was
before
very
got
easy to
drafted.
stick out because he was wearing
giant pink blazer.
Yeah, that he was easy to pick out. But no, the stadium as a whole was so cool.
Oh yeah.
We have a couple pictures. I know I posted one on Instagram of us with the stadium. But this, like, again, if you are an NFL fan, you're a football fan, this is a stadium you have to go to.
Absolutely.
Even if you're not a Packers fan, they'll make fun of you, but they won't make it
will.
personable. I promise you. But be prepared. You know,
They
have a
will
little thick
heckle
skin.
you.
They will heckle you.
You said the seats are like sardine zone.
The seats were literally
They're
was
all
like,
bleacher seats,
It was
all
like
of them.
bleacher college seats.
The
to
number
where-
the number of the
Yes.
seat is engraved
on
in the metal
seat.
bleacher.
Yeah, no backrest, no cup
Nothing.
holder, nothing.
You got to
Just
bring your own if
straight-
you want to
Old
get a
school.
backrest.
Just straight old school, and it was pretty cool. It-
Zero
with,
lumbar
with
support.
huge jumbotrons on both sides.
Yep.
So you guys got there early enough. I mean, I assume that you got some pretty good seats for the first picks in the draft. Like,
We
how'd that go?
we watched the first picks in the draft from the stadium because
So it kinda-
there were a lot of people in Green
It
Bay.
kind of
apparently.
it kind of sucked. So after we were hanging out in the stadium for a little bit, we decided, hey, let's go to the stage where they're going to be making the picks, and it was maybe a couple hours before the first couple picks were going to happen. So we go over there. We didn't get food. None of us went to the bathroom. We just aimlessly
planning.
walked over there. Poor planning. So we get over there. We stand over there for probably 30 minutes while music is going on. We were like, okay, well, let's go get some food.
Yep.
Maybe go to the bathroom. And by the time we do that, we'll walk back over here. It'll be like 30 minutes till the first couple picks. So that's what we do. We go back to the stadium, get food, go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, all these cops are like blocking off entrances and ways, and there's announcements. Well, the venue of where the stage was, that part of the of the facility was reached capacity.
Yep.
So we were screwed
you
to
got
get back
screwed.
in.
Oh, we
And
went back into Lambeau though. And
We
watched.
went, and so unfortunately, our planning of not kind of being prepared and like getting
Yeah.
food, walking over there, it kind of backfired
a little bit.
to where we got a little screwed over. But I will say, watching the first couple picks in the stadium in
That was
Lambeau,
cool. We still made
was-
it down for the back half of
Yes.
the first round.
Yeah.
We went down to the stage, and by then people had cleared out, so we got very close.
I'd say
very
we
close.
probably watched about the first 15 picks
Yeah.
in the stadium, and then the first 15,
After.
closer to the stage.
Yep.
So that was a little unlucky with our
Or 16.
timing of us not being
Was it a
able to
happy
get
accident,
in.
though, being able
A
to-
little bit, I
We
would
got-
say,
we got
because we
both
got
of them.
best of both worlds when it
Yep.
comes to being in the stadium.
We
with
got
all those
great
people.
seats in the stadium. Like
Yeah.
we were only a few rows back from the field, so like right in front of the jumbotron, and then also, like I said, we were very close to the stage. It was a lot of
It
fun.
was a lot of fun. And some of the funniest parts about the picks, before we go into like what the Bears did, what the Patriots did, and some of the big surprises, it was whenever the Bears were picking, it didn't matter if it was round 1,
Oh my
round
god.
2, round 3,
Oh my
round
God.
4. It was Bears still.
That we weren't
every time.
It was. It was such a cool
It was
environment.
comical.
It really was. It was.
Yeah.
It was very But again, none of it was personal. It was
Mm-hmm.
all just about the team you supported.
It
Yeah.
got to the point where they cheered when Janty was picked by the Raiders. Like
Yeah.
they were ecstatic that we weren't going to be the team to take him. They were like, "Yes!"
So
I'm sitting there with my hand.
So how about
prepared in my
Goodell?
hands.
Did you guys? So the booing, I heard it went pretty
Oh,
long.
They booed Goodell too.
Oh yeah.
Everyone boos Goodell.
To go into a little bit of some of the draft picks, though, because I know we have our
Yeah,
opinions
day one?
on it. Of day one of some of the big ones. I
you
think
go first.
the
Yeah, I
biggest
mean,
one.
yeah,
The
your
biggest
pick.
one I want to talk about is the Travis Hunter trade up.
Yeah.
Supposedly, this has been done for weeks now. When like Cleveland came out and said, "No, this is the Shohei of football. If we're here, we're gonna take him." And they've
weren't going to be the team to take.
weeks ago when they were saying that. So again, it just shows that some of
Yeah.
these teams, it's all smoke and
Why
mirror.
didn't they report it?
they were reporting that they were going to take him. And this is that game that we always talk about, the game within the game of who's picking who, and we don't want this. But the Jaguars trading up when their GM came out and said, this is a, what did he say? He was like, there's certain players, there's like game changers, there's game something, and then there's game like
deciders. I don't know.
It's like game changers, game deciders, and game altering or something like that. And he was like, that's why we did what we did to get, a game altering type player, Travis Hunter. They've already come out and said too that they want to let him play both sides, which I think is still just stupid.
I think he'll be primarily offense.
To just let the leash off and just say, yep, play as much as you want. If you're tired, we'll figure it out then. I hope they don't do that, because if that's the case, I think he's going to have a very short
5 or
career.
6 year career.
Don't you think that, like, also the GM of the Jags, super young.
He's
like
like 20.
He's new because they fired that guy.
He's
who they
29.
had.
29-year-old GM.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can believe it.
29.
The
Either that
other,
or he's in his early 30s, but yeah.
so the Travis
thank
Hunter
goodness
one
for
was
Travis Hunter though, right? Because if Travis
He
Hunter
gets to go
went
to
the
Florida
Browns,
instead of
what would his
Ohio.
freaking first 5 years be like?
yeah. This is
I mean,
also true.
you go to the Browns to die.
This is also
Oh,
true.
I mean, what are you thinking if you're Myles Garrett and you were promised a Super Bowl winning quarterback and you get Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco?
Well, and now
With
though,
Dylan Gabriel and Shador and then Deshaun Watson on season-ending IR.
I think the Browns though,
5.
yeah.
5? Yeah.
The Browns though, I think started off the draft very well.
Yeah, they did.
Because
Then they
looked,
kept taking replacements for their draft picks they just took.
They looked at it as in like, hey, we're not one guy away from becoming a good team. So let's trade out. Let's get some. So their first couple picks, I would say, were very good as in building a good roster.
I was well on my way to thinking the Browns probably had one of the best draft picks because, one, they took Judkins right out from under us. I mean, we both really liked Mason Graham, great D tackle. And then the UCLA linebacker, I watched some tape on him, flies everywhere.
Started out really good, and then all of a sudden you draft Gabriel
backups.
and should.
Whoa. Hello.
Uh-oh, we got an alarm going on.
Oh,
Dylan, what are you
sorry.
late for?
It's my medicine. I
Oh,
already
you
took
better
my
take your
medicine,
medicine.
though. But no, but then I think it started with round 3 when they took the Bowling Green tight end because like you just paid Njoku. That's a backup.
It's a
That's
good
a backup.
pick.
It's a great pick. I love him, but
yeah.
you have a tight end that you just
Yeah.
paid. And then you go and get Gabriel. Cool. QB of
Cool,
the future.
yeah.
Nice, guys.
Then you get another.
And then you take the second running back. You take the Tennessee running back, and you're like, okay.
That's fine.
Two-headed monster, running back by committee. I get it. Jerome Ford's still there. Cool. And then you close it off with your last pick of the draft, Shador Sanders. And it's like, one, you could have taken him in round 2, where most people thought he would have been gone already. Which, I mean, cool. Yeah, he slid to you, but then why didn't you take him at the Gabriel pick? Why'd you take Gabriel? Which apparently they loved Gabriel. And it sounds like the Sanders pick might have been like an owner decision. Called in and be like, hey, take this guy.
They
I'm kind of
started
pissed about that. I wanted Miami a couple picks before that pick to take Sanders.
Before we
Why
go
not?
into that,
Yeah.
though,
I agree.
the Browns, I think, started
the
off.
Steelers, too.
They started off really good. Of
They did.
building a
They
team,
really
and
did.
then all of a sudden
Got
they
their
just
own way.
kind of pissed it down the drain, taking two. Yeah, like they usually do.
Well, that's where players go to die. Is up in
My
Cleveland.
team, though, before we get into the Bears, because they picked 4, going into it, I said, and I was on record saying, if we don't get Carter or Hunter,
He's going to be sad.
I want to draft out. But I wasn't saying I want or move out of the top 4. I wasn't
trade out,
saying
go
that I
down.
don't think, the guy that we picked was going to be good or what. I was just a little frustrated of we should have had the first overall pick this year to do whatever the hell we wanted.
Yep.
Probably could have traded to a team like Tennessee who would have given us the bag and still gotten the 4th pick.
Maybe.
That's where my frustration comes in as a Patriots fan.
Let me tell you what Dawson's frustration actually is, though, because he's told me this a number of times, and I think he just doesn't want to buy a lineman jersey. Dawson wants a person on the Patriots that he feels is going to be on the team long enough that warrants buying a jersey.
Fuck yeah, I do. Like
And
any team.
after Will Campbell's press conference or the introductory to him on the stage, he's going to be in the league for 15 years, and it's probably going to all be on the Patriots. So go ahead and place that order because he's going to, fight and die for this
Yeah,
team?
when
Are you kidding me?
When he said-
that's a left tackle. That's a franchise left tackle.
When he said that,
I got
'cause
chills.
We were sitting in Lambeau in the stadium
we
when
heard
he said
it on
that.
the jumbotron.
And I kid you not, I totally was like,
holy shit.
in my brain, I was like, wow, this fucker just makes me want to run through a brick wall right now. And
So
he was
go ahead and order the jersey.
crying,
Yep.
like I'm gonna die for that guy. Like,
Happy that there's a Bass Pro Shop behind Gillette. Buy his jersey.
it was, that
It's gonna be there a long time,
you
Dawson.
wanted. I mean, you did. You talked about wanting Hunter. You wanted that splash player. And
guess what? Campbell's
you need
gonna be the
guys
guy.
in the trenches. You know,
you
need
do.
guys
No, you
like
do.
this.
And I understand how important that is. Again, my frustration comes a little bit from how the season ended, what we should have had.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And this was kind of, but this guy also, I think, is a Mike Vrabel guy. I think Mike Vrabel
absolutely
fell in love with Will Campbell.
I would go as far to say that probably 90% of these players are Vrabel guys because I loved Henderson. I mean, we were sitting, so this was day 2, so we were by the stage, like right next to the stage when this happened.
I might
and
buy
they
a Henderson
picked,
jersey.
I was just about to say that too, but they picked right before us. And I'll get into how the Bears draft ended up, falling, but we got sniped probably like 4 or 5 times, and you guys started it. And Henderson and Stevenson, pretty nasty.
Now,
if the
I will
O-line
say-
plays well.
That's because the Bears still suck.
I will
Yeah,
say the
Bears
only
do
thing
still
about
suck.
Stevenson, he had a drop problem in college.
Oh, you're
He's-
talking about Henderson?
No. The receiver we got out of
Oh,
Washington.
Kyle Williams.
Sorry.
Washington State.
The Washington State guy we got, he ran the fastest, I think, 40 in the draft out of the receiver group.
He's
great.
good.
He
gave Travis Hunter issues. I don't know if you've seen the tape with him and
I have,
Hunter.
but he had a drop problem, and that's
Yeah.
been our biggest problem with receivers.
So we have
is
Diggs
drops.
now. You got Diggs. That's your possession guy. Go to him if you really want the ball catch. This is your
true,
deep
but
threat.
we've had Douglas. We've had some of these other guys.
Oh, those are probably cut.
I know, and
maybe
now our
cut
receiver
candidates.
room is huge. So
It
I don't
is.
know what's going to happen.
Well,
So awesome, you
the
want that?
competition. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
You will get there should be no doubt for you as a Patriots fan that you are going to have the best 6 receivers
Completely
in the room
agree.
by the end of training camp.
Completely agreed.
And I think Kyle Williams is probably going to end up being like wide receiver 3. He'll be your slot guy, your deep threat. He's good.
On paper,
Really good.
yes, the drop concern just worries me a little bit.
You guys, the Georgia Center, another
The Georgia
great
Center was
one.
great. I think we did it.
You just cut David Andrews as well, so you needed that.
We
Like,
got
that
a
was
ton
need.
of Mike Vrabel guys,
Yes.
which I think is
The
great
Cal
for the
safety
Patriots.
too. Craig Woodson, I watched him as well.
Also drafted
Dog.
a kicker and a long
And a
snapper,
kicker,
so that
and-
was pure
Exact-
Patriot
well,
format.
This is like you guys filled every single need. Even your round 4 pick, the Joshua Farmer out of FSU. I've heard so much about him and how he should not have been there at all. And so, yeah, be happy about that one too, because now him and Milton Williams, learning from Milton Williams as well. I think
and
Patriots-
we also had Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah,
you
Mr.
know he's going to be a
Irrelevant.
4-time All-Pro. It's just going to
even
happen.
though he didn't have a single interception in college,
Nope, doesn't matter.
Well, we don't count that. We
Doesn't
count
matter.
starting now.
It was also kind of funny. The Patriots Twitter, they posted something about A minor, and then they completely deleted it.
Yeah, they quoted Kendrick and then immediately deleted it when they realized that
because his middle name is Minor. So, but yeah, we got Mr. Irrelevant. You never know.
Well, I would say, but with a 4th place schedule in the Patriots, could be looking at like 9 or 10 wins. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That far,
Chris, Dolphins fan, watch out.
especially in our division. You
Watch
just
out
never
for the
know.
Pats.
You just never
Hey,
know.
let me tell
Pats
you
could
something.
be
Though.
back,
we
man.
listen. We drafted friggin' awesome. I mean, everybody's saying we drafted terrible. We didn't go after those big name guys. We went after the trenches. But I
That's
think
true.
Kenneth Grant, the dude out of Michigan. the
I'm
defensive
surprised. I
tackle,
think you guys should have taken Will Johnson
Oh,
a couple different times, especially when he was available in the second. But I do like the Graham pick.
I mean,
Or,
we've got some guys out there. I think we're going to be okay. And
No, I
of
think
course, now we got to, we had to get a quarterback.
Ewers,
So glad we got Ewers.
Should have taken Shador. I'm just saying, like Shador.
Oh, I'm pissed
fits-
about that.
Shador
Why didn't we
fits,
take Shador? We
Shador
should have
fits
taken him.
exactly what the Dolphins do, which is just dink and dunk and then a deep shot here and there.
Yeah, he
with
would-
one of your fast receivers.
He would have
like,
been perfect for that. And we had him. I don't understand why I was shocked that the owner of the Dolphins didn't come in.
Well,
Or
you know
literally
what?
say we're taking him. The same way that the Browns probably said, how can we not now? The guy was
Yeah, I
supposed to be a
don't-
3rd overall pick. He's sitting here.
He was,
sixth.
like-
we got to take him.
Yeah, I really don't understand it. And then on top of that, it's just like the whole Shador thing's so weird to me. And I guess we can get into that conversation now. Is just, do you think it's 100% based on playing ability that he fell?
No,
No?
I think
Oh.
I agree. I agree. I
Do
don't
you-
think it's
how-
just because of
guys,
playing
what
ability.
was
Hold on,
he
hold
against
on,
ranked teams?
hold on,
What was
hold
his
on,
record
hold on,
against ranked
hold on,
teams?
hold on. We all get a chance to have our opinions on this. I think the NFL used him as a poster child
Yeah.
for the whole dynamic that is now unspiraling
Mm-hmm.
in college football when it comes to NIL money,
Saying we're still king.
transferring.
The goal is
and
to get to us,
the-
not the other way around. Us to get to
Yes,
you.
I completely agree with that.
I
to
see
where
it. I see it.
they saw prime. They've seen, the Tennessee quarterback now. What
Yeah.
Sanders did with his kids, with everything. Now a little bit is contradicting because of how the NFL viewed Travis Hunter. Maybe
Yeah.
they viewed him a little bit different because it wasn't his
Well,
kid.
it's different because Travis Hunter isn't outspoken like that.
This is
Shador
also
is
very true.
very outspoken about
Very.
himself, and that rubs
did
people
you
the
hear
wrong
what
way.
He said? So Shador basically said, if you don't want to change
He
the
told
culture
7/8 of
on
the
your
league,
team,
don't worry about him. Pretty
he
much.
said, if you don't want to change the culture on your team, don't draft me.
Well, more
Now,
so.
think about
yeah,
an
it
owner
was-
for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Think about, I don't
What's
want
wrong
you
with
to
our
change my
culture
team.
now?
You're not the Shield. You're not the NFL. You're not my team. We're not drafting you.
Well, I wouldn't say that I have a problem so much with that because you want a guy who is especially at the quarterback position. You
Yeah.
want a guy who's a little cocky, a little like, no, I'm going to come in and I'm going to change your team.
I used the term with Caleb last year. Your quarterback has to be arrogantly confident. You don't want someone that can be, persuaded to think they're not the shit. That's not going to work.
Well, he didn't lack confidence. But
No,
you guys,
hell
if you go
no.
back and look,
He doesn't lack playing ability either. I'm like, this isn't me just blowing smoke up his ass. He's a good quarterback.
Well,
he was probably
he's-
he was top 3 passing skill wise in the draft.
I don't know. I still, but listen, he didn't win the big games.
No. But
didn't.
he won big games and he made
was 1
big
in 7
throws like
against
the
Baylor
Baylor
teams.
Well, yes, but that's a team
That's a
thing.
That's a team thing.
That's a team
so to
thing.
me, I look at it and I go, hey, he had a terrible O-line both years he was at Colorado. Still had
Yeah.
really
As he
good
told
numbers.
everybody.
But that's the other thing.
But as
Remember when he talked shit
yes,
about
I
his
agree.
line?
But at the same
Exactly.
time, though, going in the
He
NFL,
made it
that's
known.
going to happen. Like you're not going to have some O-line of
Yes.
just 5-star athletes the way Georgia does, the way Florida
but does a
does,
team
the
want a guy
way.
talking shit the way he did about that O-line, saying we're going to get a whole new O-line?
I completely agree with you on that. To where you do have to still be the leader and still. I think a quarterback, no matter what, has to put the blame all on himself, even if it's not.
Yeah,
That's
he
just what
didn't.
you have to do.
And he didn't.
And he didn't. So there are some flaws to that. But do I think that some of those little interviews or blaming was the reason why he went from being a top 10 pick to...
I think the interviews could have been part of it. I definitely think the interviews could have been because I heard some stories about the Dable thing because the Giants were tied to him all offseason until...
They weren't.
Recently,
they weren't.
until they
Until
weren't.
they traded up to get
until they
Jackson
weren't,
Dart.
just like that. Yeah, they were tied to him, and it came out after the fact, like after the draft or within like the last few days of the draft, that in a meeting with Dable, Dable brings stuff. We saw it on Hard Knocks actually with Jaden Daniels. He shows up to the meetings, like with prior information he gives the quarterbacks, and then when they show up to the meeting, he's like, "Okay, what I give you a week ago, and then do it." And he did it with Shador. Shador wasn't prepared. He called Shador out on it, and it was a big issue with Shador. And I mean, when you're a head coach, you think like it's not that fucking hard. Like I gave you the answers to the test. You just needed to repeat them back to me, and you couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
So that happens. People already, when we saw GMs talk around the league, like we did from the Giants Hard Knocks, they talk just like they're friends and make like fantasy trades in their heads. So I guarantee you word got out that Shador was a shit during the Giants interview, and he probably went kind of lackadaisical with probably 7/8 of the league when they interviewed him, if he even took the interview. So I really think he fucked himself bad out of millions. Not that he needs it, but
Yeah,
his reputation's tarnished for now.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with this play. I think it has everything to do with what you just said, and I think it has a lot to do with, unfortunately, he was the poster child of what is transpiring in college football right now when it comes to all the money
They're
that's
trying
involved.
to nip it in the bud before the rest of that
we're
class
gonna agree
gets
to
here.
disagree because I think that yes, Shador was fun to watch. It was exciting. I was right there with you guys when he was playing on TV and we were staying up late to watch the games. But come on. I mean, I just don't think he is a first round pick. And time will tell. I mean, look,
It
Tom
will,
Brady
yeah,
went in
it
the
will.
6th round and he
Yeah.
won all those Super Bowls. So you never know.
Most of the quarterbacks
But
starting
his
right
dad,
now, I would
they
argue.
weren't drafting. you
Well,
know,
and
Deion
maybe
Sanders.
this is the best thing that could happen.
So that is the other thing I was going to say. Thank you for bringing that up. Shador needed this.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
he
he
got
needed
drafted,
it.
if
Yeah.
Shador got taken where he was supposed to get taken, he would turn into what everyone thinks he is. That's exactly who he would be. He would be this cocky brat
Who
that came into the
expected to
league.
start.
Is going to start because that's a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
You're handing him the keys. You're giving him $40 million on a rookie deal.
Well, how ironic,
now that he's a 5th round pick, he's
you know what? So think about this. So conspiracy theory. So
Oh, no.
let's say he decides to be a schmuck, right? So
Oh,
he
boy.
doesn't get picked second by Cleveland, right? So he's hoping to God he doesn't go to Cleveland because that's
Yeah.
where players go to die.
Yeah.
And after all of that, he was such a schmuck that he didn't get
goes to
picked in the
Cleveland.
1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then he still
goes to
went to the
Cleveland.
Browns.
Well, no, so we can bring up this clip because this clip probably emulates exactly why we're thinking like this. So this is the Browns' phone call with Shador before they drafted him.
You gotta come in, you gotta work hard, you gotta earn your job, earn your keys. And it doesn't matter where you're taking, it matters what you do from this point forward, all right? Talented, you spent a lot of time with you, you're a good kid. Let's get ready to go to work and improve all your past what we know. All right? All right, I got a coach here right now.
Yo, what's up, coach?
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you.
Remember I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity, we're gonna get to work together, okay, buddy?
And you can see their GM, Andrew Barry, basically saying you're going to have to earn your job. Don't come in cocky, come in with a clean slate. Basically saying, we didn't like you. We were forced to take you. Please prove us wrong. It screams that. And you can see it in their voices, their faces when he's drafted. They're not smiling. They're sitting there golf clapping like your friend just beat you in a round of 18.
Well, and for the Browns, it's a win-win. You either look very, very smart. You traded the 2nd overall pick.
Got him in the 5th round.
to get a ton of other picks, and you got the quarterback that you would have had to use.
Took the best D tackle to pair with Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Take some pressure off of him.
Or if he doesn't work out, you send him.
Well, they have the running game as well, the 2 running backs. I was on record saying I really liked Samson from Tennessee, and everyone knows that Judkins is going to be good as long as he gets the touches.
I think at the end, what happened is the end of the 4th round, Myles Garrett called up the owner and said,
He's like, what the hell,
You promised me a fucking quarterback, okay? You promised me a quarterback. What the hell are you doing? So they're like, okay,
man.
fine.
We'll get
Myles is
you
gonna
2
freaking
of
hold
them.
out if we don't give him a quarterback.
But now, without further ado,
We can get
Can
into
I
the
talk
Bears.
about the Bears?
We can
Oh,
get into
the
the Bears.
we are so fucking back, baby. Oh my God. Dawson, don't
Here we go. Start up the next video for next year.
Dawson, don't talk about
This
my
is-
reaction
Oh
to
my
the
God!
first
If
pick.
you
This
have
is
not
the
seen,
intro
if you've
to
not seen
next
Dylan's
year's
video, that's
cycle of a Bears.
That's right.
Yes.
If you haven't seen his cycle of the Bears
Highly
for this
recommend.
last
Go
season,
check
oh
it
my
out.
God, here we go again.
We're back.
What you just witnessed was the first clip of this season's cycle of a Bear fan.
So back. We're back. We've never been more back. We have the head coach. We've got so I can't stop bullshitting. Colson Loveland is not even the 6th guy I imagined us taking at pick 10, but I am all the way sold on him, especially because you helped kind of talk me off the ledge when we took him, because I was like, Tyler Warren was right there. Jalen Walker was right there. It's like there were a bunch of guys, even linemen that were there that was like, I never heard Loveland tied to us. I didn't hear anything about us meeting with him, nothing. And maybe that's a good thing because, I mean, we took him 10th. No one, I don't think, saw us taking him 10, except NFL teams, because reports came out after the fact that teams were trying to trade up for those top 10 picks, like active calls. And then once we took Loveland, the call stopped a little bit.
To no bullshit, Dylan was being a baby back bitch when it came to who they picked. He was being a little.
I was like,
he was like, what? What do you mean, Loveland? Warren is still there. What do you mean? And I had to be the one to be like, dude. Michigan didn't have a quarterback who couldn't even pass the ball for 100 yards last year.
Yeah.
He was their starting tight end with McCarthy when they won the national championship. Look at his numbers that year. So
I will say they were similar both years. So that was like, when you told me that and I saw that, I was like, oh shit. But then I watched the tape. And he's He's a receiver, and that's what, because we already have a tight end that can do it all. And not to say he can't, because he was used in, like you said, starting tight end every single scheme on Michigan's offense. He was blocking, running routes, being a decoy, and that's exactly what we need for Caleb Williams as a young tight end that is versatile. And I wouldn't say Cole Kmet's not, but he's not that. He's not that.
The way I described this, I nailed this on the head, I think, especially after their second round draft pick with Luther Burton.
Which shouldn't have been there.
I think Ben Johnson is literally making a Lions offense 2.0, minus maybe the skill position at the running backs. But DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Luther Burton, the Jamison Williams.
It's different because Luther Burton, we talked about this, me, Sam, my cousin, who's also a Bears fan, and Mitch, the guy that went with us to the draft. Luther Burton is there to put pressure on DJ Moore. They are the same player.
But at the same time, though, it's a very similar, like, I guarantee you, feel of how it's going to look. And then you have the tight Loveland, very, very similar to what's his name, Laporta. And we saw what Ben Johnson did with Laporta after trading away Hawkinson. So I really think if there's, this is what I told you, and this is to any Bears fan, if you're looking at this, I am ecstatic, because if there's one thing that Ben Johnson can do, that he's proven to do, is to turn guys into legitimate offensive weapons and score points.
I agree, but I don't think that's his mindset. I don't think he went into the draft thinking, okay, I got to rebuild the Lions. I think I'm looking down the list, these are all positions that we have already. He's putting pressure on the people that had so-called accountability issues last year, which you were very outspoken about DJ Moore. I'm not sure that Cole Kmet was, but we don't have another tight end anyways, but he is putting pressure on the guys that are already in the building. One of his first comments in his introductory press conference is, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And outside of quarterback and taking a guy to challenge Caleb, it's exactly that. Like, guys that we have, starters, paid a lot of money, are now being pushed to do more. And I could not be more happy. And I think the Luther Burton pick is a good point.
Dawson, I'm convinced the Bears are back.
The Bears are back.
The Bears are back.
Look, I think the Bears are...
Luther Burton should not have been there at pick 39.
He should
and not even... I forgot he was available. I forgot that he hadn't been picked, because we were standing there.
You guys were so running back.
We just had our running back
blinders
taken.
On.
Yeah. We just had our running back stolen out from under us. And there was still other running backs that weren't necessarily valued as a second-round pick, but were there, and maybe we reached on, but no. You go and get a guy who was the number one overall prospect a few years ago going into college, and is one of, I think, 6 receivers in the SEC to have 1,200 yards as a sophomore.
He's really
the other
good.
guys are Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, people of that caliber, Mike Evans. So it's like, it sounds really good. Got to be on the field, but it looks good. And we did end up taking a running back. Finally, it was just in round 7. But, I mean, Pacheco was taken in round 7. He kind of reminds me, he's built similarly. He's got good contact balance, and he's smaller. He's like 5'8".
I compared him to Bucky Irving.
And that was a good comparison as well. Like, that kind of running back, which we could use, because Swift is not that. But other than that, it was a solid draft. More draft picks than we had going into it. We traded back a couple different times because, like I said earlier, we got sniped out of running backs probably like 4 or 5 times. It was ridiculous. Like, Henderson was gone. Judkins got taken right before that. Yeah. Janty got taken. And then you had Ollie Gordon, I even wanted. Miami took him. I wanted him late.
Ollie Gordon,
Caleb Johnson went to the Steelers. It was like every single time I wanted a running back, he was gone. And
the SMU guy went to the Chiefs, which I think is another Bucky Irving type player.
So, it didn't go that way, but I feel like I said earlier, we're putting pressure on our guys. You need that.
I didn't think about that. That's
accountability.
That's a good assessment.
And outside of like what happened last year, that was what this team was lacking the most. Not skill. We've got that. Like, the roster looks great. It looked great last year.
Yeah.
but guys weren't bought in at
put
all.
together.
No.
Yeah.
So this offseason is going to be extremely crucial.
So
So clearly the Bears are back, Dawson.
The Bears are back.
The Bears are back.
Bears are back.
Like I said,
I mean, the Bears are back.
This is the opening credit.
The Bears are back.
To next
Super Bowl,
year's
baby.
I will
Bear-
see you
Bear
guys
cycle.
in probably
February at the
Hold on,
Super Bowl.
wait, right here. Hey,
Oh,
I'm right here.
oh.
All right, 8 months from now. Wait, when is the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl's
It's
in
February, so
Or
that's
March,
10
April,
months
May.
from now.
So
Sorry, my
that's
mistake.
9 months from now.
9 months from now, I will see you guys. Where is the Super Bowl? LA?
There's no way.
It doesn't matter where it's at, Dylan. The
I'll
Bears
be
aren't
there.
gonna be at it.
We'll be there.
There's no way we're jumping to the Super Bowl.
The Bears are back.
Oh
Oh,
my
I'm skipping the whole Coach of the Year thing this year. I'm going full-fledged. This is me diving headfirst into a 3-foot pool.
Oh my God.
I'm ready. I'm ready to be hurt again.
We'll talk about a couple more teams. We'll talk a little bit about the Dolphins, but the team that I want to talk about a tad, just because they're here, we listen to a lot of the local radio stations.
The Falcons.
The Falcons.
I was very surprised. I saw a lot of mixed opinions about the Falcons draft.
when
Like people
it
saying
happened?
that it sucked and people saying that it was bad, but all I saw was a team that got both of the guys that they were projected to pick in the first round.
So this is what I have seen and heard and saw. They originally were going to pick the D end out of Tennessee with their first overall pick because they did not think that Jalen Walker was going to be
which
there.
he shouldn't have been.
So when they got to their pick, it was holy. This is the guy that we didn't think we were going to take. We're
Yep.
taking him no matter what.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it got to pick 25 and they were like, shit.
He's
The
still
guy
there.
we originally wanted because we didn't think we were going to get Jalen Walker
Yeah,
is
he's
still
available.
here. He's available.
Oh, yeah.
We're trading up.
Now
and
they
we're-
did have to give up 2 first-round
They
picks.
did,
for
but
that.
but at the
wait a
same
minute,
time though,
though.
if you
Oh, I have a
hold on,
theory.
no.
Yeah.
If he pans out and
It's-
those two
oh,
guys,
no one's gonna care.
None of it matters. No. What you
So-
gave up doesn't matter.
Okay, so think about it, you guys. So this is what they said on the radio. So they gave up next year's first round pick for a sure thing first round pick this year.
Exactly.
So they get it a year sooner.
So they
Who
got.
fucking cares?
I agree.
Like, it
He
was
has
a win
to
for
pan
them.
out,
That's what I'm
though.
saying.
It was a complete
He
win
has
for
to
them.
pan out though. If Jalen Walker
Yeah.
and you know what's his name,
Jalen
James
Walker,
Pierce,
Pierce.
yeah.
if they combine for, let's say, what's a realistic number that we could say they could have sack
Jalen Walker is going to
they
be playing
combine for
linebacker.
This is true.
25
So
Jalen
let's
Wa-
say no, 25 is way too
25
much.
together?
No,
Oh,
because
yeah,
Jalen
that's too
Walker
much.
isn't a pure. He plays
Okay,
in
20.
coverage more. Let's say 13. 13 sacks between the two of those guys because Jalen Walker isn't a pure just edge rush, pass rush. He's going to be in coverage. He's going to play
Yeah.
a more, linebacker role where, the Tennessee guy, he's a pass
pure
rusher.
edge rusher.
I'd say 13 sacks out of those two guys this year with the offense they have, with the rest of the defense that they do have that is hurt, that is coming back, that they drafted. I think that would be a win in their book for, knocking these 2 first-round picks,
Well, I mean, it doesn't stop there. They got the Notre Dame safety in round
Yes.
3. At the end of round 3, that was a guy I thought we were going to take in round 2.
They're
So
saying
it's-
they think he could probably start over their current safety.
he's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to be him and Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
Those two. And they didn't have many picks. They only had 5, but they
Mhm.
got guys that are going to start. And like I said, they got both of the guys that they were projected to take in the first round.
Yes, and when they saw that they could get both of them, they
Yes.
jumped all for
The
it.
biggest wild card is James Pierce. Because he's a great talent. There were people that thought he was going to go top 10 at the beginning of this college football
Didn't he have
season.
character issues?
Character concerns, yes, which is fine if you have a coach that can manage that, which there are plenty. Like Vrabel, I'm sure, does not give a shit about character concerns because no one's going to test him.
Yeah.
But you got to, like I said, you got to have the leadership in place for that. So if they feel like they do, it's going to work out, and the Falcons will be great.
But Falcons, a tiny golf clap. I think you guys.
Yes, you guys did a good job.
You guys.
Yeah, but
going,
they're still the Falcons.
They are still the Falcons. So it's that team will be interesting to see how that all shakes out, especially with their quarterback too, because I think Penix,
Yep.
the couple games he did play, he got a lot of people excited. You saw one of the last games that he played last year where it was
Looked
like
great.
this guy can sling it.
He's the real deal. But can we talk about how the Saints took the Louisville quarterback who is 25 years old, going to be 26 before the season starts, at 40th
the
overall,
Saints.
before pretty
they
much
have
every
good
other
luck with old
quarterback outside of
quarterbacks.
Dart
They
and
took
Ward.
Drew Brees when he was old, so they're going for mojo.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was.
I just like I don't talk bad about players. Okay, at least I try not to. But why? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, if you
doesn't
look at me
make any
with a
sense.
straight face and say you would rather have him over Sanders, you're completely full of shit.
you absolutely.
like why
are.
didn't they?
You're
though? Something
completely
they
full of shit.
obviously-
I'm talking about a fan. Like,
Oh,
screw
yeah.
screw the organization, screw the people making the decisions. If you're a Saints fan, you are just full of shit. If you look at me and go, yeah, I wanted him over Sanders.
I just can't believe he went this early. It makes zero sense to me. I don't think he'll start because Carr's arm doesn't work anymore, but it's not going to be pretty. Like,
Or
it's
he's
not
gonna
gonna
be the
pretty
next
at all.
Mahomes.
Okay, yeah.
And we're all
if
wrong.
he is, then that's going to suck and good and clip me next year.
Hey, since we're talking about quarterbacks, though, let's talk about Quinn Ewers. If he would have come out a year earlier, he
would have been a first-round
If
pick,
he wasn't
probably.
hurt, he's a first rounder.
I disagree with you because of how strong the draft class quarterback or
Oh,
the
last
quarterback
year,
class
yeah.
was
Okay,
last
then he
year.
was a
6
second
quarterbacks
rounder,
went
but he wasn't a
in the top
seventh
12
rounder.
picks.
I mean, I think we got a steal.
Well, I think you got a guy who has talent, played for a good coach, played for a good organization, played in a lot of meaningful games.
He got to
going into
he got to 2 tournaments.
and you're going into an offensive scheme. I don't care what you say about the Dolphins. I think their coach is very well connected when it comes to building an offense. I think he's
May
in a
not be
good
the best head
situation to
coach.
learn. He's got great players to practice with and throw the ball to when it comes to Hill, when it comes to Waddle, when it comes to all those running backs that they have there. I think they probably maybe should have fired the trigger on Sanders over Ewers before?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. But you got a guy who I think is worth, at least being like, yeah, let's see what you got.
Okay, but here's where though, with your guys' little theory on Sanders not getting picked, and that this was the NFL's way of pushing back on this, all this money and everything else with NIL in college. Once you got to as late as he was, you had all these teams that could have used him, and they still didn't pick him. Why?
That's the question that everyone's asking.
Owners. I really do think it's an owner's thing. Don't pick him. Take him off your draft boards.
I mean, you could say that. You could say they don't want the distraction. They don't want the pressure of if they draft him, they're going to have to start him if their starting quarterback doesn't do good the first couple weeks.
What happens if he isn't the starter right off the bat? And
He's not going to be.
Well, no, but that's the question that these owners that said take him off your draft boards are asking themselves. What's going to happen when he's not good enough to start? And his dad disagrees, and he disagrees, and his media team disagrees.
Yes.
And what happens when, let's say what happens when when Joe Flacco, he'll have, one really good game, and then all of a sudden he'll be Joe Flacco again. Everyone's going to be, well, who should they start?
How do you feel if you're Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah, to me, the whole situation is just, they
Clusterfuck.
ruined it with Gabriel because it was like, we believe in you, you're going to be the quarterback of the future, and then all of a sudden
Not
you
even
see him come
not
in,
even
and
2
it's
hours
like,
later, it's like, hey, by the way.
what do you mean? Like, what you
Or a
just
day
said to
later.
me was a lie.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, like we talked about when we said the Browns, they did really, really good at the beginning to get picks to build a team because they weren't one player away. And now all of a sudden it's like, what are we doing again?
So we got to talk about something else that happened really funny, Dawson, because this involves my Montana Grizzlies and Montana State. But how about how the Raiders at the very end of the draft?
This was
Tom
pretty cool.
both of the
Brady's
quarterbacks?
influence
cool.
on this draft. Okay, they took Merlot, which was the quarterback that took him to 2 national championships at Montana State.
Yeah.
The guy is also a receiver. I think they want to turn him into another Edelman 2.0.
I think it's going because chances are if you're playing quarterback and you're really good, he runs the ball a lot at that level, it's just because they want you to touch the ball every single play because you're a pure athlete. Yes, you can throw the ball, be a quarterback.
Edelman did that too.
Edelman did that at Kent State.
He played well.
So
for them.
yes, I think they looked at it as this kid is a pure athlete. He's
a
also
football player.
smart because he was the quarterback. He's a football player. He can run. He understands the defense. He understands every position on the field of kind of what to do, protection, all that crap. So I think yes, they're going to turn him into like an Edelman 2.0. I don't know how much Tom Brady maybe had in that.
Oh, I think he.
I mean,
I think he
maybe-
drafted for them.
I
I,
think
guarantee
he-
you, he
Maybe
drafted
a
for
little.
them.
There's,
I think
I don't.
so.
I don't.
They said Tom Brady
Him and
was
Pete
involved
Carroll.
in this draft.
I'm sure he was, but to
and
be
Pete
like,
Carroll.
no, you need this guy. We're doing.
Yeah, but-
he turned into an Edelman.
But how
I
about
don't know
how
if it's
2
that
picks
black
later,
and white.
though, they took the
Yes,
other quarterback
from
So-
South Dakota,
But South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, these guys played in 2 national championships a year apart from
against
each other.
each other.
Against
each other this
and so
year,
here's
yeah.
the Raiders. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just take both these guys. Why not? They took both quarterbacks.
One of them's gotta
I
pan
love
out.
it. I love it. To be honest, I mean, it was like, well, who's available?
Yeah.
I really
why
like it. I
not?
think it's cool.
Yeah.
It also just shows, you know, and who was the tackle that went from that? He got drafted pretty high from South Dakota State.
Or Notre,
Oh,
you mean, no,
you're
North
talking
Dakota
about
State.
Gray Zabel?
Yeah, what
Oh,
team?
that
He
was
went
North
to
Dakota State.
Seattle.
Seattle picked
Seattle
him.
took him.
The guy who they called him up.
He's gonna play
and
guard.
he was like, well, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "I'm gonna go buy a ring.
I'm gonna go buy some
I'm
corn.
gonna go buy a cornfield, and-
corn farm
and do that."
next
while
to
Yeah,
his
I'm-
Gray
parents.
Zabel.
Next to his
He's
parents'
NDSU.
corn farm.
He was North Dakota State. So
Yeah.
he's the Bison.
NDSU.
Yeah.
So a
Yep.
lot of guys from up in that part
Oh,
of the world.
and the Montana, because obviously Montana.
Oh, yeah, we
they're
gotta talk about
they're
Montana
really
Grizzlies.
their stud
That's right.
receiver. He got drafted. I can't remember what team, but it was late 7th round. So good for him. He was
Yep.
he was a
Well,
very
he's a punt return specialist.
well, but he played receiver too. But he made his impact on special teams 100%. With like, I know a couple years ago he had a huge kick return right at the beginning of the
Yeah, it's
game
Junior
that set
Burton.
the tone.
Junior
Junior
Burton.
Burton.
Yeah, and
Really
he
good
was
slot
he's
guy,
a,
fast.
He's a playmaker. He's a game changer.
Yes, he's a
That
playmaker.
guy, he changed games by touching the ball.
He
one
did.
time.
Now, will it translate to the NFL? Who knows?
Well, but we've had.
I think
hey,
for where he
Mariani,
played,
Do you remember Mariani?
Well,
with the-
yes.
okay, he came from Montana. Same kind of player.
well,
He
you
was
have like
special teams. in
Cooper
Montana.
Cup came from
Eastern
from
Washington.
Eastern,
From Eastern
Washington.
Washington. We had to
So
deal
there
with him.
are players out there who know how to play, and it just comes down to, you know, I think
Well, Jerry Rice, Tony Romo, like all these guys came from
Yeah.
that division of football. So
Yeah.
there's good players out there.
there are. So it was cool to see some love towards some of those guys who did make a huge
It was a good
impact
draft
in
for,
that.
for Division One, the old Division
Yeah.
One AA, or the basically, the guys that basically play a real championship.
I want to touch though to kind of wrap up our whole story of being at the draft.
Oh, I got a couple more questions
The
for you. too, about
second
the draft.
day was a little miserable.
No, the second day was exactly what you would get out of a Green Bay
Yes.
experience. So,
was-
Well, you're
in
the
other words,
dumbasses
it
that didn't
was.
fucking wear warm clothes.
I wore warm clothes.
Where did
we
you think you were
got
going?
I maybe messed up a little bit on the packing
Dawson.
arrangement.
Dawson wore the same outfit
Look,
3 days in a row because that is the only thing that he brought.
I checked the weather.
and
It
he was
said-
like, "Oh, 50 degrees
it
in
said
the
60.
damn near Canada. That's going to be the same kind of weather as Georgia."
No, that was well. And so you went. So let's talk about that hat you're wearing. First of all, how much was that hat?
Well, obviously,
Too much.
with anything, it's all
Yeah, but weren't the prices like even higher?
prices were
like
stupid.
because you said the
expensive.
prices were stupid high.
They were
Yeah.
stupid expensive.
This
I
helmet
mean,
right here was $50 sitting in front of me.
Some people were in there buying. I don't even.
I don't
mean,
want
they
to
were-
know the amount
I
of
don't
money
want
that
to
some
know
people
the amount of
spent.
money that some
You
people
took
spent.
kids there, and all of them wanted a shirt.
Or like
They were
I
spending
saw
like $400.
I saw a couple guys with like 5 different hats and 5. Yeah, it was crazy expensive. But to wrap up
Hell
our
no.
last day though, we kind of the second day we did a lot of the interactive stuff, like the
Yeah.
field goal kick and
How'd
you
your
know,
field goal kick go, Dawson?
dude? I thought I broke my fucking
We gotta
toe.
put those on here.
I made good contact. It went, it had.
Oh
you were
my
close to
God,
making
you
it too. You made
embarrassed
good
me. You
con-
embarrassed the family legacy of our field
I
goal
didn't know.
kicking
I didn't
abilities.
dribble it. I got some air under
They
it. Dylan
have
can
a little
attest
bit
to
of
it.
area.
But I kind of chunked it a
Yeah.
little bit in golf terms, and I
Yeah.
thought because of how
he chunked
cold
his toe.
of how cold it was, I thought I broke my toe.
You killed someone.
I thought I broke my toe.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost we each attempted the 35-yard field goal. One of our Bears fans and friends, Mitch, made it. He
Yeah, he
doinked
did.
it on the back end. No double doink this time. And I
Oh, and you gotta play
barely
that
missed.
video. What he
Barely
did. I
missed.
saw that video after he started doing.
Yeah.
We'll play it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty fun. And then they did the 40-yard dash.
Yes.
I didn't do
Feel like
that.
I popped a hammy.
I thought I broke my toe.
Oh my God,
so
Josh, you would have popped. I think you got to warm up for that.
Yeah,
I
and
will
it was
say
cold,
on that
too.
40-yard dash, I got a late start. Both of them got head starts, and I almost caught up to both
That's
of
what
them.
they
I
always
was
say.
right there. You'll see it in the video. You know what? Show that video too.
Why not?
I had
Might
my
as well show
proof.
some of the crazy. I want to hear about the food. How's the food?
The
Stadium-
food
it
was
was just
stadium
stadium
food. It was
food.
stadium food.
We didn't get to try any of because Titletown has bars and they had restaurants, but they were all 2-hour waits.
Yeah, so we
So
didn't
we
do
elected
that.
against doing that.
There were-
but Dawson had a foot-long hot
There
dog.
were a lot of foot-long glizzies.
I got a
Taken
foot-long
down, that's all I'll
bratwurst.
say.
Yeah. Dogs
So-
were consumed
Dogs
this
were
weekend.
consumed.
So I know you guys saw AJ Hawk in person.
Yeah, we saw McAfee, Mike McCarthy,
So-
AJ Hawk.
But wait, so AJ Hawk, so obviously former.
Yeah, if
Former
you've
Packer.
never seen Pat McAfee,
he's a unit. Well, I mean, he's an NFL player.
he's a unit. He's jacked. And
He was the biggest punter in the league for a long time. He's like 6'2".
yeah, if you've never seen him in person,
He's
and
very big.
he's like a little meatball that
I wouldn't say little. He's almost your height.
yeah, no, he's like a 6'4" meatball that would probably fuck you up if it was bad enough.
Oh,
AJ
yeah.
Hawk was pretty cool to see. We saw Nick Saban. We saw, all the
Other reporters.
all the
Kay Adams.
reporters where all the booths were.
Who's Kay Adams? What is this up?
No,
with?
Go ahead and look
no.
up Kay
Picture of
Adams.
Kay
You'll know.
Adams on here. Who's Kay
Anna's
Adams?
going to get mad at you, but go ahead and look up Kay Adams.
No, I'm not going to look it up. Just put it on the screen. So
She's an
we'll show
NFL
everybody
reporter.
whoever
Pat
Kay Adams
McAfee is 6'1", 233.
Yeah, he's a unit.
Unit.
He's a
Yeah.
unit.
Kay Adams is.
Kay Adams is a
She's
female
6'3",
NFL
also 230?
reporter.
Okay.
Kay Adams could get any NFL athlete to admit to murder live on air. Is all I'll say.
Okay. Okay. Well, so would you guys do it again? Would you go to another draft? Because see, I've heard something about the draft. So I don't know if you guys knew, but the NFL is talking about where to put these drafts. They're putting them in cities that would never host a Super Bowl.
That is exactly what Mitch told us this weekend.
Yes.
Is that's literally what they do. They save the shitty cold weather cities that can't, support a Super
Give them a
Bowl.
little NFL
They
love.
give them the draft.
I
That's right.
think this is my opinion on the NFL draft. Now that I've been there, I think the NFL draft is viewed depending on who you're a fan of. I think it's viewed very differently. For me personally, I think with me being a Patriots fan, growing up my whole life, my team being good, the draft kind of really didn't mean anything. Like it was just like, oh yeah, we can get a couple extra players. We still got Tom Brady and Gronk and Edelman. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, cool. We got a linebacker. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but now you're watching your team
So,
reset.
but for now, the teams like for you or for the teams who consistently
you're watching
have,
a baby be born.
that's why I think it means so much more to like you or to teams who constantly have that because
we don't have 6
it's-
Super Bowl rings in 20 years.
It's the hope.
Oh, gee.
It's the hope
Shit.
of like trying to find your Tom Brady or
Yep.
your. So that's where I think the draft comes into play, to where there's very different perspectives depending on who you're a fan of your team, of how you kind of, rank that of importance.
How about the guys though that have decided to not go to the draft anymore? Like, so were there a number of guys that weren't there? Like, is that a little bit? Because I would think the NFL wants as many of those first rounders to be
athletes.
there as possible, or else.
Yeah,
I
maybe
feel
people
like there
won't
was a
wanna go.
time where they tried to fill all 32 picks with people that were going to be there, and then they had like 40 people attending, and now it's like this year was less than last year.
I'd say probably half of the first round guys were there and half of them weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, like you said, the NFL, they don't like that.
No,
Well,
They-
they better figure out a way to get those guys there.
Yeah, you've got to figure out a better way to, whether that's money, whether that's something. You've got to,
Fly
I
their
think,
entire family out on
you've
a
got to
private
get
jet.
those guys there in person, at least for the first round. Because I think, that's kind of what you're built on.
if you're going to make us stand there and listen to a band for 5 minutes in between every pick, the least you can do is let us see our player in person.
Yeah.
Because my God, that shit went on forever. If that's my one
the
complaint
same
about the
4
draft, they have
songs.
these same 4 songs, and it's the same band with the same voices all 3 days. But for round 1, it's after every pick, they do like a fucking set. and it's oh my god.
And they were good singers. There
Yeah,
was a
they were
good
good
band,
singers,
but
but
the same
I'm here
songs
for the picks.
over
No, you
and
mean you
over.
wait a minute.
I'm
They
here for
didn't
the
have a
picks.
different song for every.
No,
Oh,
they
that's
probably
terrible.
had. They probably
We had our own commercial breaks, except I honestly would have rather watched the commercials.
Well,
at that
Doss,
point.
I
Like, it
heard
was,
something about on day 2 you had a little bathroom issue yourself where
Uh-oh.
I
you
mean,
like didn't plan out day 2. Is
Oh,
it-
look,
man.
like
look,
what happened?
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do,
Yep.
and
Like
that's
you
all
were
there is
like you're
to
all
it.
ready to go, right? You're in the front,
That's all there
great
is to
seats,
it.
and you're
Look,
like, guys, I gotta go.
sometimes
Nature calls.
We made it back to
Sometimes
those
shit
spots,
happens.
though. We did make it back to those
No
spots.
pun intended.
Oh, shit
But
happens.
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and when you're standing out there in the piss
It
cold
was a
rain,
long time.
my feet are soaked, my socks are soaked, my back hurts,
Yep.
everything hurts.
Sometimes you just need a squat.
Sometimes you just gotta go sit down.
Sponsored by Dude Wipes.
For
I see.
a couple minutes.
nice, nice.
And it did kind of suck though, because it's like I ain't, who wants to do that in a freaking porta potty? Who wants to do that in a state? So you kind of had to find something.
Anyways, next year's in Pittsburgh. I don't know. Like I said, we were talking about it.
Pittsburgh. Who
These
the hell wants
last
to go
two
to Pittsburgh?
destinations have been very convenient because I am from Chicago. All of my family lives in Chicago. This year was in Green Bay. Last year was in Detroit. Both of those happen to be right above Chicago, right around 3
There's
to a 5
no
hour
way
drive.
I go to Pittsburgh.
Dawson is a Patriots fan, so I do think there is going to be a way that we drag him out to Pittsburgh in a Patriots jersey. I
can't
do
see
think
that
there's a
happening.
way.
I can't see it happening. Well, listen,
No?
you guys. I mean, this has been a great sports week. The Braves are a game away from being.
Hey, hold on now.
The-
The Braves
the
have
Braves
won
are-
the last 9 of
We're
11
back!
games. We're one game
back!
away from 500.
That's
And then
right.
you play
We're
the
back.
Dodgers on
That's
Friday.
fine. That's fine.
Look,
It's
hey,
fine.
who cares? If we
It's
win
fine.
today, if we win in Colorado today, we're back
We-
to 500.
back to
We're 15,
500,
15,
and
which is
we're-
what they wanted to do by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Forget about April, and we move on.
Oh.
So
Long
it's
season.
been a good week.
Long season. It's been a good week.
Well, this has been a lot of fun talking about the draft, you guys.
No, it was a lot of fun for anyone. I would say the draft, yes, it's definitely fun experience, but I would say more of Lambeau Field.
Yes.
If your team is traveling to Lambeau,
Go to
you're
a game.
close. Go to a game. A lot of fun.
if you can get a ticket.
If you can get a ticket, the environment's great, the people are great, the hospitality's great, the stadium is great. It's very unique. I would say it's a wonder of the world when it comes to stadiums.
At least the US.
At least in the US
Yeah.
of sports, teams and fans. The people are
a lot of
awesome.
history there.
You might get
Oh,
lucky
yeah.
and find the house that gives you free tequila shots.
Mhm.
Maybe we were the only lucky ones to have that. I don't think so
Maybe
though.
she thought you guys
Oh,
are cute.
yeah.
No, she
Oh,
was
maybe.
old. She was probably like what,
Yeah, she probably thought you were
70?
cute.
Maybe we made her feel young again.
Maybe. But
Hey, today's a great day too. It's your mother's birthday. Without your
yes,
mom,
it is.
happy
Happy birthday,
birthday
Anna.
to your
It
mom.
is-
Without her, you wouldn't be here.
It is Mother's birthday. Yes, happy birthday.
Technically, this show wouldn't exist without her.
This show
So,
would not exist. It would be all about the Bears. It would
it
just be
would
Dylan,
be.
be
Yeah.
Dylan by himself.
It would be me sitting in a warehouse with jerseys right here. Like,
Oh, so you mean we're not like in our mother's basement right now? Like
Nope.
we're actually in a.
No.
we're in a studio
You're
with
in our
lights and
studio,
cameras.
housed
and a
inside
set.
the C2
Oh,
corporation. This
interesting.
is a great
Oh,
place.
Funny.
yeah, with a CEO sitting right there at
Funny
our
how
desk.
that works, huh? Funny
Yeah.
how that works.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
great
crazy.
stuff.
Well, yes, don't forget. Oh, if you have not checked out the
Thunderbolts this week.
that is this week. We are. I think. What are we going?
Gotta
going
wait
tomorrow.
a little bit.
We're going Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Yeah. So
I'm free Friday.
I'll explain that to you after we're done. We're going Friday now.
Heard that. Sorry, Jake.
No, I'll
It's all-
explain
Oh,
it to you.
congrats, Jake.
I'll
Oh,
explain.
all right.
I'll explain it to you. But no, if you have not checked out the Cycle of a Bears fan video
Oh, it's a
on
great video. You gotta
YouTube,
see it.
and
You'll laugh
we have it on
hysterically.
I
TikTok
did a
and
lot
on
of work
Instagram.
on it.
It was a lot of work, but it
Was a lot
is
of work.
it is well worth it. And I think naturally, I think every fan base can kind of relate to
Oh, yeah.
that video
But
one
go ahead,
way or
and, go ahead
another.
and turn this camera to me. I wasn't joking. Okay, the Bears are back. I will see you in 10 months from now in February in Los Angeles, I think. Super Bowl champs. Bears are back.
Oh my God. Is this his prediction?
Rookies of the year sweeps.
No,
I don't know who
stop
would be our
it.
defensive rookie of the year, but
Stop. We're not there yet.
Stop.
We're
I'm
not
already
even-
there.
we're not
I've
even
been
to
there.
OTAs
I've
yet.
been
No,
there since we
stop.
hired
We haven't
Ben
even
Johnson.
got through freaking rookie mini
gotta
camp.
We're
get-
back.
that's right.
We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. I'm ready to be hurt again. We have a fucking terrible schedule. We play the entire AFC North. We play the entire NFC East. We play the entire NFC North twice. I'm gonna cry, but
on.
we're back.
You want to
We're
be the
back.
best? You got to beat the
last
best.
Exactly. That's what I battle
last thing,
tested.
just because my Patriots.
Patriots are back. Pats are back.
Bill Belichick is not back.
Oh my God! Yeah, can we
Belichick.
let's actually because I
Bill
really did
Belichick
want to talk about this.
is
today.
What
not
is going
back.
on with Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick is dating an escort. You know, it's not even that. He's dating an escort, and it's not.
Oh man.
I don't know if he knows. Like genuinely, I don't know if he knows it. I don't think so.
Is
I
he getting
think that
catfished?
he might be. No, I don't think it's a catfish. I think he's just his brain is devoted to football. I don't think he thinks about much else outside of that. And so I think he really just maybe he's happy. I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know.
he's happy.
But prediction with all this because UNC came out after that. He had a CBS interview.
Well,
That was very weird.
well, and the
Very
reason
weird.
why he's
They're like, we're not going to talk about that.
the reason why he's doing
He
some of
wrote a
these
book.
interviews, he wrote a book.
He wrote a book.
about
he didn't write
To
a
which
book.
he did write a book, and
No,
to which
he
he
didn't
credits
write it. Somebody else wrote
well,
it.
yes,
Come on.
but it's
credits-
his book. Yes.
he credits his creative muse, his 24-year-old escort girlfriend Jordan Hudson. What a sweetheart! But my prediction is that he is gone by next year from UNC. I don't think he lasts the season.
The season.
He will
He
be
might
the
get
coach
fired before the
of
season
Dallas
starts.
Cowboys after the Cowboys win 4 games.
I
this
think
season.
we asked this question before we started. He's ruining his legacy. No one is going to remember Bill Belichick for being a great football coach anymore. It's
Yeah.
going to be for dating an escort and going to college.
Somebody 50 years younger than him.
Yeah,
Hey, but you know what?
It was-
You know who will remember them 6 Super Bowls?
the
This
Patriots
guy.
fans. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but your loyalty is tied to Tom Brady. That's not Belichick.
No, I mean,
I would say to a certain extent.
Because you rooted for the Bucks when he left.
Of course I did. Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Are you
I
going
mean,
to root for
fans do.
well,
UNC?
hold on though.
Patriot fans
Without Belichick, we don't win the Super Bowl.
But are you going to root for UNC?
I'll watch the same way everyone did with like
It's gonna be
Deion
interesting.
Sanders in Colorado.
If he stays, I think they're going to be interesting. I mean, the ACC is a weak conference right now,
Yeah.
football-wise, so
Yeah.
could be interesting.
I'll
but
watch.
I
as
do.
long
What,
as
do you,
Bill
what about
doesn't end
you?
up on the cheerleaders bus on accident.
It's probably already happened.
don't say that. Don't say that.
Bill Belichick is.
What do you mean? He was 50? He was as old as me when she was born.
We knew that he was a little bit of a. Yeah, hopefully Anna doesn't hear that comment. Happy birthday, Anna.
He really is. He's ruining his legacy. It's really too bad. Like somebody needs to be like, Bill, seriously, get off that medication. What are you doing?
Seriously.
He can wipe off the Super Bowl. He'll be fine.
I suppose.
Yeah,
I
it just.
suppose.
Oh
He'll be just
man,
fine. He'll be just
he
fine.
doesn't seem to care. So I guess.
I don't.
Yeah, but
It is a little fun.
yeah, that was it.
It is a little fun.
Sorry, Bill.
But yes, no, check out that video. It is really
Yeah.
great. I think everyone can relate to it one way or another.
Give it a like.
Give it
us
a like.
follow.
Give
Give us
attention.
a follow.
Give me attention.
Comment on your team based on what they did in the draft. If you liked it, if you didn't, I know we really only covered a couple. It'd be way too much to talk about every team.
Yes.
But I'm sure there are a lot of. I know the Ravens had a good draft. I
Oh my
know
God.
There's a lot of teams that I think did.
It was a
very
deep
well.
draft, so a lot of teams, unless you're the Browns and take backup positions for the back half of your
Yeah.
draft.
A lot of teams did
Good
good.
draft.
It's going to be an exciting build up towards the start of
The Bears
preseason
winning the
and-
Super Bowl?
and- No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
no, no,
it's a
don't-
long road until then.
Don't
There's a
say
lot
that.
of wins to be had before that.
Don't say that.
There's a lot of
Don't say
wins to be
that.
had.
Don't say
A lot of rookie of the years to be won, coaches of the year to be won,
No.
MVPs to be won.
that. And with that,
Bears still suck.
That will
The
wrap
Bears
up
still
today's episode about the draft. We appreciate you guys watching as always. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow everything. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.
Sure. It's been real, guys. Bears are back.